All right, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get the screen share started and we'll get going. Welcome, everybody, today to our Why You Should Be Using Copilot webinar. I'm Harry Fries, and I'll be taking you through the great features that we have in the app. Again, thank you all for joining us. And let's get going. You can see at the bottom of the Zoom window that there's a Q&A button. Please feel free to use to post questions that you may have during the presentation. We'll take some time afterwards to answer your questions. You can also upvote other people's questions if you see a question you like. That'll help boost its priority because we're fans of boosting priority. Copilot helps you to stay on top of important jukebox performance stats. You can use the app to check your revenue and monitor your jukebox, whether your jukebox is on or off. Plus, you'll get notifications from the app for jukeboxes powering down, overheating, event mode activated, and you can even get jukebox door opening notifications if you're equipped with a jukebox door open switch. It's the most convenient tool to monitor and handle jukebox issues. The first thing I'd like to do is take you into the app. You would log in on the login page using the same operator website login that you use every day when you're going to the website. Once you're logged in, I want to draw your attention to the upper right-hand corner. You see a little profile icon. Click on that, and that takes you to your account. The first thing I want to do is draw your attention to the notifications. Right under the login with Face ID, if you click notifications, you have options to pick from for what notifications you want to receive about all of your jukeboxes. Door open, switched off, high CPU temp, and event mode entered. These toggle on and off very easily. We encourage you to put them on, and if you want them on, they should be green. The next thing I want to do is bring you right back to the home page where we select our location. Draw your attention to right away when you see your locations, you see that there is money on the revenue slots as well as the cash box. Having the revenue on the cash box is extremely helpful for you guys when you're scheduling your route. Let's go ahead and pick AMI webinar curve. You'll see once you're into the location, you have 3 tabs. The basic tab, which is for jukebox control and venue staff. The promotion tab is for blast notification and ad manager. And the operator tab, which is available only to you, is for support, reporting, background music scheduling, and other operator-only functions. Let's jump into this operator tab. Again, this tab is exclusive to just you guys. Okay, venue staff won't have this tab. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is revenue. So if you look under reports and you see event log and then revenue, you can click on it. And here you get the report of the last 4 weeks of revenue. There's also a tab at the top for mobile, so you can tell how much of that revenue is from mobile. Again, a good tool for planning your route. Now, the next thing I want to bring your attention to is notifications. You have to scroll all the way down and you see there's a little green toggle for show notifications. This is different than the last notification section I showed you because this one is for this particular jukebox. So we've already selected what notifications we want about our jukeboxes. This, which is on by default, should be green. This will tell you that you're going to get notifications about those notifications about this jukebox. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and flip it off and back on just to show you. It's a quick adjustment. Say it's not a problem jukebox and you never get any calls about it. You don't really care. You can turn it off. But obviously we recommend that you leave your notifications on. The next thing I want to bring your attention to is back up at the top. You see call tech support, and then under that, you see live chat support. Live chat support is a totally underutilized but extremely valuable tool in your toolbox. If you're at a loud or dark bar, someplace that you just can't make a phone call, or that it wouldn't be very convenient, you'd have to keep going outside to talk to the tech support person, the chat support is actually your best way around that, because you can simply type and talk to them. When you get into this tab, you'll be put in a waiting room for just a short amount of time before you're quickly routed to a tech support member. As many of you know, we take tech support very seriously. So we highly recommend using the live chat support. Now, the next thing I want to bring your attention to is the staff rewards program. Down in the middle, about 2 places under the maintenance, is staff rewards program. We highly recommend enabling the staff rewards program because it incentivizes staff to encourage more patrons to use the mobile app and drive sales. It's like having the bar staff be your own personal sales force. Those are the highlights from the operator tab. Let's move on to promotion. This is going to start to look a little familiar to you if you've used the ad manager on your operator website. The first thing I want to bring you to is the ad creation tool, which is, like I said, identical to the ad manager. Let me go ahead and show you how easy it is to make an ad. Let's go ahead and say we want to tell people from the jukebox that you also have pool tables in the bar. So we're going to go ahead and click Find a Template. We're going to click the search option up at the top right, and we're going to type in pool. Now we have all of our different templates that have anything to do with pool or billiards. Let's go ahead and pick this one. So here we have a template that's already made for us, but we want it to say something else. Maybe we say pool tables in the back. And then under that, we want to say, let's say $1 per game. And then we'll just get rid of this one. And then up here, just under the picture, you'll see the refresh button, which is a circle with an arrow. Hit that, and that's what our little ad looks like. To go to the next screen, you're going to see up at the top is step 1 of 3, and there's an arrow to the right. Click that arrow to go to step 2. This is our scheduling page. Very simple. Let's click our start date to start today. And when this publishes, this goes out within minutes. So having it start today means it's going to go up right away. Our end date, let's run that for 2 months. We'll leave the days and hours the same at every day, all day. Up at the top, next to step 2 of 3, we're going to hit the right arrow again. This is where you can name your ad. And under it, you'll see we have this jukebox, the AMI webinar curve, as our targeted location. Let's say that you have another bar that also has pool tables in the back and you want to run this same ad there. Well, right above the name of the AMI webinar curve, you can see add/edit. Go ahead and tap that. And our other jukebox is right here. So we're going to select this one, head back, and now we have both jukeboxes in the list. Up next to the step 3 of 3, you can see all the way to the far right is the word save. You're going to click save, continue, and that publishes the ad out to your jukeboxes. It's a very simple process. It works just like the one on Operator, and it's a really great tool to let people know that you have other products, or it's another tool for the bar to use to let them know about drink specials or happy hour. Ad Manager is a super, super helpful tool. The next thing we want to show you is our blast notifications. So up at the top, you see create first blast. What blast notifications do is they send a notification out to the users that have used the mobile app in the recent past. This notification goes directly to their phone because they have the AMI Music app on their phone. So we're going to create a fast blast. And let's say that we're going to, well, obviously the first place is the messages from what bar. We're going to say that the AMI webinar is called Harry's Place. And let's tell them $1 pool games. Maybe that's a price reduction or something for that week. Now you're going to click save and continue. You can have the choice of sending now or to go back and view and edit. I'm not going to click send now because you only get to use this once a month. If you use it before the location can, they cannot use it, and vice versa. We only send out one blast notification per month, per location. The next place I'd like to bring you to is the basic tab. You can see here on the basic tab, it's very much like a jukebox remote. You can use it to control your juke, pause the music, turn on event mode, change the volume even. Let's turn it up for the guys over in Grand Rapids. You can also use it as a temporary override for background music station. See the power status of your jukebox. And change that power status. Say you want to put your jukebox into soft power down. You simply power off. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave our jukebox on. Finally, on this page, I'd like to bring your attention to the location staff button. What the location staff button does is it takes you to view your location staff that you already have, but it also brings you to the ability to create an invite for someone to become another location staff. Now, under this, we have, or on top of this, on the top right, you can see the create button. That create is for an invitation. When you want to invite somebody to become venue staff in the Copilot app, you can go here. Now you'll see we have several different authorizations. First is the operator executive, which is you. Next would be operator assistant, service technician, venue manager, and venue staff. You'll see here that there's a short description for each of these authorizations. We're going to go ahead and proceed with creating a venue manager. Now, down here, you get to see what else they control. Basic device controls, temporary override background music, create, manage, ad promotions, view and accept staff rewards, manage essential albums, and manage venue users. There are a couple of these that you can actually turn off, the ones that are highlighted in a brighter blue. So if you don't want them to have the ability to temporarily override the background station, you can simply take that ability away from them. When you have it all set up the way you want it, the next thing you're going to do is get shareable QR code. Right here, when you click that, you're going to get a QR code. So if you're in person with the staff member that you're inviting to Copilot, all they have to do is take their phone out and scan this code, and they'll be taken through the process of creating their venue staff count. Let's say you're not in person and you're still at the office. Well, all you have to do is click the share button. The options that they take you to there are the ability to say, send a text message and simply put your contact in there, send this and its instructions and URLs to get started with the process. Or you can click mail. Again, just put the contact information in there. And this works for any of the options that your phone offers you. Since we already have some venue staff created, I'd like to log in to show you what a venue staff or a venue manager account looks like from their perspective. So we're going to go ahead and log out. We're going to log back in. I'd also like to remind you that there is a Q&A section on the screen where you can post questions and upvote other people's questions if you like them. Let me go ahead and log into this real quick. The first thing I want you to notice is right here on this screen, all they can see is the name of their location and the green cloud to show them that the jukebox is connected. There is no revenue information on this page like there is for you. So let's go ahead and go in and take a look at what they have. It looks like because this is a venue manager with all of those different permissions, they have 3 tabs. They have the basic tab, the promotion tab, and the rewards tab. Again, the rewards tab is what we talked about earlier, where we highly recommend you use it because it will incentivize the bar staff to get more patrons to download AMI music and spend money. Next is the promotions tab, which looks very familiar because it's pretty much the same as yours. They have the ability to make a blast notification and create ads. All out of your hands. You don't have to make ads for them. If they want a bar special ad, that you can have them just do it themselves. Finally is the basic tab, which again, we have the controls of the jukebox as well as the location staff. So if you've made somebody a venue manager, they have the ability then to add more of their own staff, taking the work out of your hands. I'd also like to draw your attention to the fact that there is no operator tab. The only people who have access to financial information in Copilot are the operator executive roles. No other role can see what kind of money is being made. That is all private to the operator executive role, which is you. Let's see. There is one last thing that I do want to show you. We have this tab. We have this profile as a venue manager. I want you to see what a venue staff looks like that's been stripped down and doesn't have any permissions. So let's go ahead and log out of here. And we're going to go to of course, they'll probably be more creative with the usernames that they're putting in there. Other than venue staff, they'll probably be using their own names, but I hope you guys enjoy our really creative names for these. Oops. There we go. Again, no financial information on the opening page. We're going to go in, and all this has is the rewards and the basic tab. And the basic tab is only able to do what we've let it, which doesn't even have a background music override on this one. It's very low rights. So just so you could see what that looks like. We hope that you found this presentation helpful and informative. Now we're going to open up the floor for discussion to address some of the questions that you guys have posted in the Q&A section. I will go ahead and turn things over to Chris.
Hey, thanks guys for joining this webinar. I know your time is valuable, and you've all got a lot of things to do to run your routes. It looks like we have about 4 questions here that I'd like to answer for you all. The first question is, what kind of rewards does the staff earn? Staff rewards are free credits that any of the venue staff earn when there's a location, or excuse me, when there are unique users on the mobile app that log in. It resets every Monday. So if you had 40 users that use the mobile app, then you will be rewarded credits. The entire staff will be rewarded credits for that subset of users. And again, it resets. So if you had 30 users the first week and then you had 40 users the next week and increases and so on, those staff will earn additional credits for the number of people that log in and use the mobile app. Next question, is there a way in the app to find the amount of money that the Juke has made since last collection or between certain dates? Recently, we just added the cash box section to that first screen that shows the revenue and the reporting. And we are working currently on doing since last collection or adding that last collection, since last collection entry, as well as possibly adding, and this is where we would like some feedback from the operators, if we would like to add a remote collect for those locations that are further out or remote on your route and you don't necessarily get to them every 4 to 6 weeks. And then you handle either with ACH or you handle with a check, however you operate with those. So we're adding some features on the revenue side. Frequently, we're working on both of those two things currently. The ads they create is the limit a year. It's defaulted at a year with the ability to extend that out. So if you wanted to have ABC vending do an ad for your route, if you like this jukebox, contact X. If you need an ATM in your bar or venue, you can create those ads as well. Those can run a little bit longer, but the limit is defaulted to a year. Our blast notifications sent out immediately. There is a little bit of a vetting process just to make sure that nothing untoward goes out to some of these users, because it does hit them on their phone. It is usually much more quickly addressed than 24 hours. That would be the maximum amount of time that you might see. So if you wanted to promote a league night or a tournament or an event, you may want to prepare a couple extra hours so that can run through the vetting process before it's sent out. And then as far as operators being able to sign up for rewards, that's something that I would have to get an answer to. I haven't had that question before, but we can certainly get back with the person that asked that question. What is event mode? Event mode is the ability. We used to have a special event so that if you installed the jukebox and you ran a TV or you ran an external source into the jukebox, you could lock out the jukebox so nobody could put in money, nobody could make any selections, and you could run that audio through the screen. So for instance, there's a big game coming up here in a couple weeks. If you wanted to run that Super Bowl through your jukebox, you used to have to turn a switch so that you could limit any of the selection or revenue generating ability through the jukebox. Now with event mode, the operator has the opportunity to go into their Copilot or the location. If you give them the allowance, they can do that manually through their Copilot. They can turn on the game, and then they can also set the time so when the game comes off or whatever the event is, the jukebox will automatically default back to on. One thing that we've seen in the past is that sometimes people will go into event mode without Copilot, and then they'll leave that on, and you could lose eventually that night of revenue. Can we create our own templates for promotion, and will they store in Copilot? Yes, they will. If you want to create your own artwork, you can send that into us, whether it's in a custom background or a custom theme. If you send that to us, we can put that on your Copilot, and then you can use that as your ad template for any of the other locations that you may have out there. There's another question here. Every time a customer uses the mobile app, that location staff person gets credits only when certain levels are hit. That is correct. You don't get a credit for every time somebody logs into the app. We can get you the parameters that generate the free credits that the staff is getting. I can get that answer back to you pretty quickly, but it is based upon the number of users that use that app per week. It's kind of a common practice for any of the other apps that are out there, but each member in that staff can qualify for those rewards. So if you have multiple personnel that work in that venue, they would all get credits whenever that is used. Will there be a QR code that can be used for accounting route software? We're currently working with a couple of the software companies that are out there that are most prevalent that the operators use, and we are looking at a QR code that you could scan and import that data into the software that you're currently using. There's a question about operators, to go back to readdress a question about operators getting the staff rewards. The staff reward is currently set up for any staff members that are in the location. So unfortunately, route personnel are not going to get credits whenever the mobile app is used within a location. Do the staff rewards cost operators anything? No, this doesn't hit your accounting. It's not accounted for in terms of what an operator may have to pay. No additional cost other than the free credits being used for the staff members. There's no additional cost to any of the operators at all for these programs. And it looks like if anybody else has any questions that they'd like to add here, it looks like that's majority of the question.
Hey, Chris, I think one question was, can we create our own templates for promotions and will they store in the Copilot? You can add your own pictures to the Copilot and then at any given point can extend them to other jukeboxes through the Copilot.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool feature.
There's a question here that says, I would also like to know what the levels for free credits are. I have staff that say they get nothing and I don't know what to tell them other than, please contact support. We can see who asked this question. I will either get back with you personally or we'll have one of the regional sales managers get back with you to answer that specifically. But your question will be answered here within the next, few hours. So I appreciate that question.
I see one more question, Chris, if you don't mind me jumping in.
Yeah.
Can customers see the screen when we use service mode? So just to clarify, in the app, under the operator section for the operator level roles, you can launch service mode. And that's the only way you want to do that is if you have someone on site that you trust, that you can tell directly how to go into service mode to troubleshoot an issue or to check on something for you. So if you do launch service mode, it will show up on the jukebox. However, someone needs to be directly in front of the jukebox then to interact with that service mode. So if you accidentally launch it, yes, a customer will see it. And if they do tap the screen, they will be able to use it. So we strongly recommend that you only launch that when you have someone there that you can trust to go into the system for you. And that's typically your venue manager or venue staff.
There's another question in here asked about free credits expiring. Staff reward credits do eventually expire. I would have to find out the time frame for that. And we'll get back with you very quickly.
There is a brochure on our website under the staff rewards section that has all of this information available. So if you want to go ahead and access it, you can. But it does seem like it's a pretty popular topic. So we can do an email out to operators later that kind of explains the program a little bit. And maybe this is some sort of topic that we can explore in a future webinar as well.
All right, there was another question here asking about the scanning QR code. If they already need to have Copilot downloaded, the QR code or link that you send should direct them to download the app if they don't already have that installed.
Can we get location staff or venue manager to email AMI to add new music groups? We do have and I'm not sure if Jill or Jeff can throw this on, but we do have a music request site that you can go to that will allow venues, operators, patrons to request music to be put on either the platform or local on the jukebox.
Right. So there's a generic email, music request at AMIentertainment.com. That's also available on our website under the contact form for people who want to add music. And if I'm not mistaken, Chris, I believe if the venue manager and venue staff have access to Copilot, that username and password also gives them the same permissions in the AMIentertainment.net operator site. And I believe there is an option in there to request music as well.
Great. Thank you, Jill.
And just so you know, they do request, they send in requests all the time.
So it looks like that's all the questions. Just in closing, I'm not sure if most of you are aware of this. I ran a route for 10 years. I used Copilot all the time. It enabled me to figure out in the morning how I was going to manage that route for the day. But it is a valuable tool if you're tired of replacing remote controls, if you have a service issue in location that's darkly lit or extremely loud. That chat feature is something that is underutilized, but is a very valuable tool. And for your locations, for them to be able to see, is the jukebox up and running, what's playing, to control the volume if they have an issue. We're very proud of this tool. We've had great feedback from the operator base. We're going to continue to develop new features, new accounting features, new avenues to streamline what y'all do out there in the field. And we're very excited about it. So again, thank you all for your time. If you have any further questions, please reach out to your RSM or reach out to me. We're happy to spend as much time as you'd like offline to address some of the questions you may have. And I hope you all have a great day.